Hello and welcome to this week's episode of My CP Does Not Define Me, where we focus less on the this and more on the ability of what we can do. Join us every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, live on www.letgoradio.net and on Facebook Live, where I always say, if you can't be good, be bad, but be good at it.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time again. It is June 23rd, 2021, so therefore it's Wednesday and we're going to have some fun. I'm a poet and didn't know it. See what I did there? It's amazing. All right, welcome to My CP Does Not Define Me, episode 58. 58, we're approaching 60 now. It's getting elderly, kind of, sort of, in that
Hey,
moment.
wait a minute.
Yeah, but it's in the show sense, not the age sense. Let me just clarify that. I have got two of the most wonderful people. I'm going to tell you, I had a chance to meet Justin back on Christina and Kyle's the CP Chronicles, and that episode blew my mind. I think we talked for about an hour after the episode was over, and I'm like, man, I have to have you guys on my show. I literally went into my Californian type of, dude, if this doesn't happen like right now, everything's gonna end, and then I'm gonna be like totally bummed out. So Justin and Melissa Fink, welcome you guys. Thank you so much for being on the show. I love you guys to death. I'm just honored to have you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
opportunity.
Would you do our viewers a favor? We're live on Let Go Radio, and we're also live on Facebook too. Hey, Nikki. Hey, Cindy. Welcome to the show, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Would you do us a favor and just tell us a little bit about yourselves, who you are, where you're from, what you do? Just, whatever you want to share to our viewers out there to get to know you just a little bit.
All right, ladies first.
Okay, man, I get to go first. Okay. Well, I'm Melissa, and Justin and I have been married for 16 years now, and we have two wonderful little boys. One is Jace 10, and Josiah is 2. I'm a teacher at a local school here. We both grew up here, went to that school, and then I came back and started teaching there. I've been there for 16 years, and just enjoy that and enjoy time with my family.
I'm Justin, and we've been married for 16 years. Have we said that enough yet?
Yeah.
Feels like a lot longer. No. I shouldn't say that.
You shouldn't say that.
I was staying home dad with Josiah, and I was with Jace as well. I spend a lot of time volunteering at our church. I'm in leadership there, so we're both super busy. I'm happy to do things like this. I didn't even know things like this existed until I found Kyle and Christina's show. And just so happy that people are out there and willing to talk, and glad to be a part of it.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And since we talked about the 16 years, let's hit on that a little bit. I've been married for 5. We're going on 6 in September, so that's coming up. Let's start off. How did you guys meet? Let's go there.
Do you want me to tell the story? Because it'll be really frou-frou-y if I tell it.
Frou-frou-y, huh?
Weird, I guess.
I can actually tell you, and this is no joke, with relative certainty, the moment that I saw her. I can tell you what she looked like. I can tell you what she was doing. I can tell you where she was sitting on the floor by a locker. We were in junior high. And I didn't know it then because I was busy being me and doing stupid things and not really paying attention to a whole lot. But God, even then, said this is the person that somehow, some way, you're going to spend your life with. And it's just been an incredible ride since.
So, which is a really weird because we met in junior high and we went to school together all through high school at the same local school here that I teach at. And then we went our separate ways after graduation. And we happened to, Justin's grandma lived behind my mom at the time. Mm-hmm. And Justin lived kind of diagonal from his grandma. And one day I was out in my driveway. I was at college and come home, I think maybe. I was in my driveway with my mom talking, and Justin walked across the field, and my mom called Justin over, or like said hi or whatever, and he came over. and we started talking, and eventually we decided to go ride to school together. We were both going to IVCC. It's a local college here, about a half hour away. And so he needed a ride, and so I was happy to oblige that. And we started riding to school together and started talking and visiting and became really good friends. And then eventually it started to become more than a friendship and started dating, went to separate colleges, and stuck through it the whole time. I think that was probably our biggest growth pattern for us was during college, being away from each other. Because we had to learn to communicate over phone, not by facial expressions.
Yeah.
That was huge. We got to the point where we could, call each other, and by the way we said hello, we'd know what kind of day it had been.
Right.
Or if we were having a good day, a bad day, what kind of, what was going on there. And so after college is when we ended up getting married. So, and then, 16 years later, here we are.
It was 20 years total, right? I'm doing the math right.
Yeah, 21 years. Yeah.
So let's talk about two things. I kind of want to go off the story that you just talked about, you both. I love how Justin, you told the story, and then Melissa came in and told her, the version, and it kind of just meshed together. When you guys met, for the first time, and you guys started, talking and riding to college together, that kind of thing. Did it take you long to accept Justin's disability? How was that for you in the world of cerebral palsy, or in the world of disability to able-bodied? What was that like for you?
I guess because we started out as friends first, and getting to watch him and his abilities beyond what you saw. So the cerebral palsy, I don't know, I guess I've never really looked at Justin differently. I mean, there's obviously limitations and stuff, but it's not been...
Do I have to tell the backpack story?
Now that you're bringing things up. But I don't know. We were such good friends, and I saw the strength that he had, and we had some opportunity to truly have some time emotionally and mentally as friends, where we were, going through things, sharing struggles together, that it became where I guess I just knew him first as a friend, and could see who he was as a person, and the CP wasn't something that blinded me, I guess.
Right. I totally understand that. That's and the reason why I asked that is because my next question was, how important was it to have the friendship foundation first? Because, like you said, you went your separate ways at graduation, but it's like, was it when you said, his grandmother called him over, and or the grandmother called him over, and y'all said hi and started talking or whatever? Was there the awkward moment of, I remember you from school, or was it just, immediate, like tractor beat, the whole?
I don't think so. It was actually my mom who called him over to us, which we always joke about, because I'm like, my mom loves Justin deeply, so I'm not. This is totally joking. Our family's this way. We use sarcasm a lot, and she's like, "Man, if I wouldn't have called him over there, and when she's goofing around with those things." But so she's like, "It's all my fault," But she loves Justin, and she's thankful for him and stuff. So we, we'll tease back and forth about that, but I guess it wasn't really that way, because we had just graduated in May, and this was the second semester of college is when we started riding together. So from May to January, it wasn't like, it hadn't been that way. And I know some people, like for me, it's hard for me to think like you wouldn't know somebody or recognize them in January, but I also know that we came from a small school and we graduated with 50 people. So
yeah, it wasn't
like we knew each other, we knew each other's families, we knew, we grew up with their siblings. It wasn't like there was a class of 500 and I just barely knew him, which it's not like we were really close friends, but we at least knew, like, in the community, and we knew each other. We've seen each other, it's like we crossed paths in the hallway on a regular basis. We talked in high school. We just didn't hang out with the same group of friends, really. And so just different things like that. Actually, we double dated to prom, but we went with two different people. So,
okay.
Different things like that. So it was like we weren't prom dates for each other, but we went together. And different things like that. So
for me, the awkwardness came later, when we were starting to get really serious about, where's this going to go and what's this going to look like for us? because I knew that there were going to have to be certain things that she accepted that I couldn't change. And so I can remember that first, or actually really the only discussion we had, because we never had short conversations, and I really don't think we do now unless a kid interrupts or life interrupts or whatever. But I just said, there are certain things that you're going to have to accept, and if you can't accept these things, we need to know this. We need to have the ability to move forward. But even that wasn't all that awkward, because we had invested so much time in one another, and ultimately had a foundation that came from God. That when you start there with love one another first and put someone else above you, those discussions come a whole lot faster and easier, because you're understanding that this person, I need to elevate them to a place that's even more important than myself. And so it wasn't that hard, but it was a little awkward. Because
what, if I can ask this, and if not, it's perfectly fine. What did you think she would have trouble accepting?
Just the idea that there are certain things that I can't do, certain things, and it's still, she loves to dance. Dancing's one of her favorite things, and I was like, short of a slow dance and me pretty much being there and just swaying a little bit every once in a while, there's not a whole lot I can achieve when it comes to using my feet. It just won't happen. And even even the discussion about kids, it was like, well, here's the reality of it. And even that changed over time, because God had a whole different plan than what we did. So not really big, deep things, just the kind of in your face things that everybody with a disability, I think, has to be honest with themselves about and honest with others about.
We got a great question here from our viewers, and I'll get to that in just a minute, that JP asked. But I want to say, just on what you come, I remember my first dance with a girl. Now I'll tell you what, you talking about awkward. I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work. Oh God, she's beautiful. What do? I can only move left and right, back and forth. Oh jeez. Like, so she just came over. She just sat down in my lap. I'm like, okay, this is different. But
well, this is a win.
Well, I enjoyed the whole 90 seconds. Actually, 3 minutes and 92 seconds. The thing, not like I memorized it, but it was just there. I think that conversation is important. Being honest and being upfront and saying, look, I do have limitations. I know a way to get around them, but there are certain things I need help with. There are certain things that I'm not able to do. I don't like saying can't, because I will get around that word. I will obliterate that word. You tell me I can't, and I'll show you a way that I can. And this just proves it right here, because that friendship foundation was so important. Because I'm wondering, with the whole, when you first saw her, did you have the, oh my gosh, she's pretty, like that whole moment? You're like,
I was like, oh, hello.
Like, I would go over and wave, the whole, because when I had that moment with Emily, like, because I remember when we met, she had messaged me through email, and I never check my email when I'm editing videos, and God literally goes, check your email. I'm like, I will in a minute. So I felt, hey, check your email. I'm like, I'll get to it. Okay. And finally I was like, check your email. I'm like, all right. So I checked it, and I'm like, this chick has blue hair. and I like it. And it's like, and that was literally in our wedding vows, because it's that's the thing. So moving forward a little bit, I mean, you've dated, you've gone to college together. So JP asked this, and let me pull this comment up. When you made the decision to get married, how did your parents react to the decision?
Well, let me tell my side of the story first, because you're not even going to believe this. I probably asked Melissa to marry me a good 13 times indirectly. But yeah.
They sound really bad.
No, I don't mean it in a negative way, but
13.
all of our parents were like super adamant about you need to finish school, and that's the right attitude. You need to finish school. You got to finish this chapter to move on to the next one. And that doesn't, it works differently for everybody. But I just kind of got to this point. I was like, God, this is the last time I'm doing this. Because I had these big elaborate plans of what I was going to do and do it in front of all these people. And how it ended up happening was I had to have a test done. And I was not in good shape after the test. And Melissa came down to take care of me. And I looked over at her, and I'm going to cry. I looked over at her and I said, will you marry me? And she finally said yes. And I went, and then I think I went to sleep. Like all is right.
Took the load off, man. You're like, lucky 13, baby. Woo! Yeah.
So I think the reason why, our parents our parents were very supportive of us. They loved both of us. I never felt like I wasn't part of Justin's family, and I don't think he ever felt the same way. For mine, I felt like we were both accepted into those families just from the beginning. They're just wonderful parents for both of our sides and great grandparents and stuff. I think the biggest fear for me is that I didn't, I did respect my parents' opinions. I felt like they were very supportive of me growing up and stuff. And so I didn't want to go against what they wanted for me either. And I did agree with the fact that we did need to finish school. And even when we talked about, we had an open discussion, I remember, with my parents at the table, and they were like, well, we're just afraid that you're going to make this decision before you're done with college. And we don't want that for you. We want you to finish college and make your decisions, decide where you want to go, and then make the decision. So I think because we were so young is really where the hesitation came from our family, not because of any kind of the disability or anything. Of course, there was always, my parents were like, you realize that there's going to be limitations and so forth. And talking about that, they understood that, and they never viewed Justin as any less of a person or anything. Just wanted to make sure that, that I was thinking through everything, which I appreciated. So I think that's really where the biggest reaction came from, was like, you guys are so young. You still have 2 years. We talked about this as sophomores in college, I think, is when we decided that, this is something that we were looking towards. And we had told them that we wanted to wait till after college anyway, but there's, your parents, as being a parent myself, like, I know, I'm like, my boys, like, it's hard to let go of that. It's hard to not voice your opinion on what you want for them, because you want it to be the best for them. And so I think that was the biggest thing. So when we finally did get engaged, they were supportive and loving and so forth.
Which,
just very
if I
much
remember
still.
right, it was your mom's birthday.
Yeah, out of all times, it was my mom's birthday when Justin was going through his stuff. And so my mom, it was my mom's birthday gift was me engaged on her birthday. But it just happened that it worked out that way. But she, both my parents and Justin's parents have always been supportive and helping and, being a part of what our family's doing. Thankfully, we all live in the same town, and that's why we're thankful we're here. We never thought we'd be in Little Streeter, Illinois. We thought we'd be somewhere else doing something different, but just the time that we've had with family, and that our kids too. Yeah, that our kids knew our grandparents. Like, they're all gone now, but our oldest was really close to my grandma, and just different things like that we're so thankful for our family. And I know everybody doesn't have that story, so we're very fortunate that that's been part of our lives as well to help support us.
That support system is so important. And to hear the genuineness of what your parents wanted for both of you. I know that some parents, they control it. Some parents, you ain't gonna marry my daughter until you got this and this and all of it. I ain't gonna. Look, just back up a little bit, take a breath. I ain't trying to knock her over. I don't want to harm her in this process. But I like how, you do have to look at the reality of things. You do have to get your ducks in a row, sort of. I mean, it's not, the ducks are never going to be quacking all in unison and fluffing their feathers in unison. It doesn't happen that way. I can agree with the family acceptance with this marriage. My mother-in-law, man, she's great, and she always has been great. I mean, since day one. There were those moments where I thought she was going to eat my soul when I first met her, but I mean that was just the whole. When I was asking, Emily to come down for the first time, and she stayed for a week. She stayed with my mom, and I was like, Miss Lisa, can Emily come down and stay for a week? And she's like, yes. I'm like, oh God, it's just but it was more, I was like terrified. But the whole thing of it is knowing that you have, but everybody has problems that they have to work through, and where one person may be weaker in an area, that's where the husband or the wife will lift them up, and the strengths kind of play into each other. And for Emily and I, and I'm sure for you and Melissa, it's the same thing. It just works, and that's the great thing about realizing when it meshes together, when God truly blesses it, and you go, man, this is definitely a God thing. I'm like, well, all right, let's go ahead and do this. And then I tie the knot, and my tuxedo's tighter than the Hoover Dam about to bust somewhere. And I'm like, can I please get out of these shoes? That was the most uncomfortable thing about the wedding. My shoes are going, and I'm like, no. But once it was done, once you guys were married, how much of it was getting to know and getting to figure each other out? Because when you live together and then you don't live together first and then you live together, it's like, it's different. It's entirely different living with somebody.
Well, I guess what I would add to that is we had dated for, I hope I get this right, 4.5 years prior to getting married. And we just spent a lot of time talking through little things that you wouldn't even think to talk about. Everybody jokes, but I know in premarital counseling, one of the things they ask is like, well, how do you roll the toothpaste, or how do you put the toilet paper roll on? And it's just little things, but it teaches you to respect another person's opinion. And so I actually believe and know that not living together first was better, just because it forces you as a person to use your mouth. You have to learn to communicate. You can't just, even with body language and stuff like that, you can't just do that. You got to learn to communicate, and really you got to learn to be real about what you're communicating about, because that's one thing with marriage that God continually teaches me is you don't got time for fluff. You got to be real. You got to be respectful, and you got to love. But most importantly, you got to be real.
I love that, because there's a comment here. It's the little things that always end up being the biggest surprise right there. Yeah. And I'll tell you, the toilet paper thing. Oh yeah. Down. That and the seat, man. I'm like, look, I'm gonna bolt that thing. You ain't nothing like 2 a.m. Who left the seat up? The whole. But the greatest thing about it, again, it's you have that opportunity to figure it out, because part of and a lot of people, whether you're disabled or not, part of the journey is figuring that out. Is how does this go? Do you like the silverware on the right? Do you like it on the left? I'm left-handed. Okay. I don't use my right side. I don't use my right side a lot. So I do because I have to, because I'm like, right hand, you're going to work, the whole time thing. But you got to go through, how do you fold your shirts? How do you fold your jeans? Which way do you want them in the drawer? Can you help me fold a shirt? Because I can't fold a shirt worth the dickens. And it's like, by the time your drawer is neat and you're going, it's so pretty, I don't want to take anything out of it. And then you got to do laundry 3 days later. So you're like, oh, I got to do it again. And that's just, the figuring out is so important and so beautiful in in a marriage, and I think that's just amazing. So
once you get a hold of talking about the little things, like the little things that can be the big surprises, like JP said, the bigger things, the tougher things, the things that life is just going to throw at you because you're alive and you're a human being, become a whole lot easier on a whole lot of levels, because communication and being real with one another teaches you who your best friend is. And
that's so true. That's so true right there. Go ahead.
It kind of makes everything be more where it's just commonplace, so if we are talking about the small things, then it's also more commonplace for those bigger things too, that no, I'm not going to make this big decision without Justin, or because I haven't made small decisions, like this is huge compared to that. And I think also it's important with our kids too that they hear that from us. So our oldest will ask us something and we'll be like, I haven't talked to your dad yet, or like we need to talk to one another before we can make that decision. So we're teaching him, to how to do that as well, and to communicate with not only just with friendship right now, but hopefully one day in his future as well, if he just chooses to get married, that he's learning those skills.
And the other thing too is you're showing him up. You're teaching them family values.
Right.
Okay, this is not a game of mom says yes and dad says no. This is, what did your dad say?
No, there's no divide and conquer in our house.
Yeah, that's powerful right there. When you include each other and when it's a family decision and a family unit, you learn a lot of stuff. Great question by JP here. How long did you attend premarital counseling before tying the knot?
First of all, for everybody that's out there that's thinking about marriage, please take the time and do it. Premarital counseling is worth it, and it gets personal. As far as the answer to that question, Melissa was at Eastern and I was at Lincoln, and where we were getting married is our hometown. And so we had to spread it out over time, but I believe it was probably, if you tied it all together, about 16 weeks.
We actually started with one book and switched to a second book, right?
Yeah.
So Butch had started us off with one, and Butch was a good friend of ours, was a mentor for Justin. Justin worked under him for an internship, and it was a wonderful opportunity for us because we got to spend time with somebody that was a mentor for both of us and loved us and was not afraid to ask hard questions.
Yeah.
And so we were happy to take that time. But yeah, that's not a normal time frame. It just happened that because we were away from each other and then away from Butch as well. And we started a new book and all these things. But all that time was wonderful because it just, again, developed that time to talk and work through those things before we actually got to that, to that day and that true commitment there.
And we got to have, and this is what another blessing, we got to have the deep conversations about marriage counseling without the other person being in the room. And that may sound weird, but sometimes when another person is in the room and you're trying to figure yourself out and even where you stand on an issue, you're like, I don't know if I'm quite ready to talk about that yet. But when you're over a phone, you get a little bravado because you're like, well, this person's a while away, so that if they don't like it, the worst they can do is hang up.
That's the way you look at it right there. Click, click. There it goes.
Well, we need to rethink that one, so we'll try it again later. But it's just it's a blessing to take time and do things in not such a hurry, if at all possible.
I can guarantee you that 16 weeks helped with that 16 years.
Oh yeah. Because it forced us to deal with tools and things that we wouldn't have gotten otherwise. And like I said, that's why I say everybody, if you have the option, do it. It's going to force you and challenge you and stretch you, but man, it makes you stronger at the other end. And yeah, because I know somebody out there is thinking it, you have some uncomfortable conversations. But they're real.
Oh, yeah.
They're real. And honestly, it forces you to deal with things that honestly you didn't even think about. And so it's a blessing to have that. And honestly, it's all about having the right person to do it with as far as going through marriage counseling and even marriage, because I remember being naive, and I still am in a whole lot of ways when it comes to marriage. But I remember thinking, man, we're never going to fight. And every time we get into an argument, God's like, you're such a joker. No, deal with it. So
I can, that marriage kind of that hard question. I'm sitting there and the pastor goes bang, and I'm like, oh, ow.
yeah.
And yeah, that's so. All right, so I got one more question about the marriage thing, and then we're going to move on to the second topic because I want to make sure that we cover a lot of this. I'm going to probably have you guys on for like a part 6 later on.
We're here.
I just, well, and the reason I'm doing this, and I have wanted to have my wife on this show for 58 episodes. But I'm just saying.
I didn't hear you at all.
No, not at all. I just, but you know, where we talk about, you know, where I'm weaker, she picks me up. Where she has struggles, I lift her up, and it's the fun part of marriage, man. But you talking about fighting? I remember I'm never gonna fight with my wife. Like I had that exact. I'm like, this is perfect until that first. We just held like really no, like it was like it happens. If you don't fight, it's not marriage. Look, it's going to happen, disability or not. I don't care if you see out of one eye and hop on a toe. There's gonna be fighting somewhere. You're gonna leave that toenail sticking up, and she gonna step on it, and something's gonna happen. I told you to run the vacuum. There it is. That's that. Oh. But it makes you stronger because it shows you how much you really love the person. Because I tell you what, we got a back room, and I got that big queen size bed. But when you're in that queen size bed by yourself, you learn. It gets cold. You're like, I don't like this over here. I'm like, you know, but you figure it out, and I think that's the amazing part about marriage. Congratulations on 16 years, guys.
Well, thank you.
That is I can't say how awesome that is on Let Go because I almost said something I shouldn't. That is so awesome. That is, God has really blessed you guys with that.
I pray for 80 more.
Oh yeah,
I really do.
That'd be what, 96? I can do math in my head. 96 years, Justin and Melissa, man, that's awesome.
I'd be like 120. Somewhere around in there.
I don't want to live that long.
I'd rather be with Jesus, but if I can't be with Jesus, I'll be with her.
Y'all 121, boy. Y'all drinking the orange juice out of the carton. I'm telling you, straight on out. It is. So let's get to the big question here, and I've been waiting to ask this one because I love kids, man. I'm good with babies and dogs. It's when I have trouble with. It's just, I'll be honest and say that up front. When did the decision come to have children, and how did that come about? If we can kind of just get into that mode now, because we're gonna shift to the two boys.
Okay. I came from a family where I have a brother that had kids really early. I mean, he was 16 when he had his first one, and I was still at home, so I was raising that little one while he was off doing whatever he did. So for me, it was more reserved, but I think we always left it in God's hands. We always said, okay, God, when it's the time, you're going to let us know. And that's kind of what happened. We were living life, and all of a sudden, God said to me, okay, it's time to lead in a different way. Get ready to be a dad, because that's the way God works with me. He's always, I'm putting this situation in front of you, get ready. And that was the discussion between him and I was really like, I was taken back, and I don't think I slept for 2 days, because I was like, I don't know about that. Like, what, the whole dad thing, You
sure you know what you're doing there, buddy? Are you sure it's now?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready for that. I don't know if I'm old enough, kind of a thing. But I think with the Melissa, it was a little bit of a different process.
I was ready whenever.
Yeah, she was like, I'm ready to be a mom. Whenever it comes, and I'm gonna roll with it. And
let me just pour the chili in the crock pot. Okay, we're good. Let's go.
Yeah, pretty much.
So Melissa, you were just it was installed in you. You knew you were going to be a mom. It was just, when the time was right, go for it. And
yeah, I think I'm glad we waited as long as we did, and I agreed with Justin. I mean, we had prayed about it as a family and together, and but I actually didn't get my teaching certificate like normal. I went through college, and then I had a principal who asked me if I would go back and get my teaching certificate and start teaching. I was a para for a special needs student at our school, who we're so close to their family now. We're blessed with that. But for a year, and she was leaving to go somewhere else. And the principal was like, "Hey, do you want to teach?" And I was like, "No." And she's like, "Well, give it a try." So she sent me to this alternative program. So we did have to go. Like, we moved down to Eastern Illinois University for a while for me to do that over a summer. So, like, there was things that came up in our life that just kind of, it was like, okay, this isn't the right time. This isn't the right time. And then I finished that. I'd been teaching. I had my teaching certificate. We kind of settled. Justin was finishing some online schooling. He was talking about going into medical, what's it called? Medical coding. So he could work from home, some different things like that we had talked about, and had went down that path. And then as soon as he finished, it was kind of like, it's the time, so there was things to distract and stuff. It wasn't like I ever felt like, oh man, it's taking so long, or I'm never going to be a mom, or I never felt that. It was just kind of the right time, and we went for it, and thankfully we were blessed pretty quickly. And then we went through another series of where I was like, it's time. And Justin's like, no, it's not. And I'm like, it's time. But finally, 7 years later, we were blessed with our youngest as well. And, it was the perfect timing. Our kids are awesome together. We love watching them grow. And so really everything during that time has just been such a huge blessing for us. Thankfully, it hasn't been a struggle for us to have kids or anything. We, both our boys were born pretty quickly. Or conceive pretty quickly and stuff, and so we're thankful for that. We didn't have any of those struggles along those lines. So God bless us huge with that.
So it was 7 years for your first.
It's 7 years between Jason and Josiah.
We were married 6 before we had
somewhere around in there.
Just Jace, yeah, because it's 16.
Time flies.
He's 10. Yeah, he just turned 10, so 6 years.
Time flies when you're having fun,
Before we had our first.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Well, all right. So here's now, and I know that every person that is disabled, every person that is not, that's watching this show is going, all right, you have CP. This is the moment right here. You get your first one, which was Jace, right?
Yes.
So he comes out, and you're like, holy crap! I mean, is it? I don't want to break him. What am I going to do? Because they don't come with a manual. I mean,
honestly, he came by a C-section, and so and I always share this story. Melissa and the anesthetist were talking about the physics and stuff of how it all works together, and I kind of just am sitting there, and because I'm in this blue suit, in this operating room. And I had to pee, and I'm like, why am I here? What am I supposed to do?
I had a top line anesthetist. I wish I knew his name, because I will give him credit, but he was awesome.
So they're talking about that. The doctor's doing her thing, and I'm like, why am I here? What am I supposed to do? And so she goes to me. She goes, it's time to cut the cord. And I've always been like, I don't know if I want to do that. So I get up and try to walk over there. She goes, stop. And I'm like, what? I'm looking around like, did I break something? Am I falling over? What? She's like, you can't go past here. And I'm like, okay. And so I going over there, and I'm cutting the cord, and I look at his face, and I just, let me tell you guys, and let me just be really honest. There is not a moment in the face of every doubt I ever had that when I looked at his face, I wasn't like, I can so do this. And I don't care what compromises I have to make. I don't care what I have to do. His life is going to be the best that we can make it. And I'm going to be the best that I can be.
Oh.
There's no change in that. That little person, and you're just like, wow. First you're going, God is good, and then you're going, I don't care how inadequate I am. He makes me adequate, so let's roll.
And if y'all were waiting for the tear-jerking moment of the show, all right, there it is. I'm fine. That's like that is so awesome, man. Because I hear that, like, and I don't know if it's through adoption. I don't know if it's through whatever happened. I know I'm going to be a father one day because I know. I know it. I'm scared to death, but you know what? Let's roll with it. No pun intended. That's exactly. And I just wait for that moment of like, I don't want it to be, the Saint Bernard coming through the doggy door. The whole. I'm just like, okay, does it have 10 fingers? Does it have 10 toes? Is it breathing? Is it healthy? Everything else doesn't really matter, man.
You know what? To be brutally honest, because we've had people ask us on both pregnancies, because they have all these newfangled things that they can do for babies. They can test for things, and you can know things, and on both occasions, I looked at both of the medical providers, and I said, if the real question is whether I'm going to take him home with me or not, the answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
Every single time. There's not been a doubt.
Well, and that, but see, that's again where we are right here. You guys got to know a little bit of the backstory, and Justin and I have talked a lot. Like, I mean, like, so I know where he's coming from, and the thing about the cool thing about it is when he talks, Melissa supports it. It's not you see the look, you see the nod, you see the smile. I mean, I'm taking my kid home. I don't care if he's got 6 arms and little antennas popping out of his head. He's gonna have the best birthday party he's ever had, man, because that's gonna be great. And I agree with that. Now, this question right here. Thank you, JP, because you took this one from me. How challenging was it for Justin to help with a newborn baby? How did you have to do things differently?
That question, and because Kyle and Christina wanted to talk about that too, that's somewhat hard for me to answer because I don't know what normal is as far as a baby goes. As far as adaptations, really the only adaptation we ever had is we have a normal crib, but rather than lifting the baby up and out, we had a gentleman make the front of the crib with doors that open.
Oh, yeah.
So that I could get in there, even if I was in a wheelchair, which for when they were really little, I was. But largely it was just figuring out ways to make things work that everybody already knows. And that's not to say that everybody knows how to do them. But like, well, what do I need to do to make a bottle? For us, that meant that we got it together the night before, and there were little things that all I would have to do is heat up the water, dump it in, shake it, and I was ready to roll. There was none of that, well, sit and measure and do, because I always tried to build in extra time just in case I need it, because I know that I'm slower than everybody else is. But really, I wouldn't say that it's hard. I wouldn't say that it's easy, because newborns are difficult all the way around. The one thing that I think was different was Melissa would have to bring the baby to me or something like that. But once I had him, it was my world. It was what I was supposed to do. I wouldn't say it came naturally, but it just was something that I knew I had to achieve. And I think for everybody, whether you're able-bodied or not, achievement comes with the knowledge that you have to do something, whether big or small.
So this hour has flown by, but I'm gonna get these next questions out of here, and we're definitely gonna have a part 2 if you guys want. But I want to ask you both this question. It's a 2-parter. Did you go through this moment I don't want to break this thing.
Mm.
Like, I'm holding this life.
Mm-hmm.
Don't drop the baby. Like,
Mhm.
because, man, my CB, I don't want to death grip it because I'm like, hog smash. No, baby. No, baby. You know, that's the first part. Did you go through the don't drop the baby phase, and then what was it like for both of you to hold him for the first time? And I'll try to keep the tears in when you explain it. Just go ahead and explain it. Oh,
You want me to go first?
Well, I was just gonna say, kind of piggybacking off of Justin's too, that we had just having so much support too from our family. Justin's sister came to be with him for a little while when I first went back to work with our oldest, and I actually took time off of work for our second one, and I'm thankful because not everybody can do that. So I actually took quite a bit of time off. So but we always had so much support with our family that it became so much less of a struggle than it probably would have been. So we're so grateful for them too, in making it
Very
easier. But was so impressed with just how much Justin was able to be a bit of that. And a lot of those things we came up with before Jace even got here. You know, it was just like, okay, what's going to be, you know, what do we need to do here? How can we fix this differently? That sort of thing. So very thankful for just that time that we were able to communicate and come up with ideas and thoughts to help that make it easier. But I will say this before, and I'll let Justin talk about it first, but Justin would not hold a newborn baby until our boys, because we've had friends and family. We have friends with 9 kids, and we've been friends with them since their 2 youngest were just born. And they had, little ones at the time and stuff. And Justin was like, so just hesitant on holding them. Our nieces and nephews, until they got to a certain age, he was like, nope, not touching them. And so I think it just became this natural thing as soon as Jace came into the world. That was like, and I'll let you go from there. But
DJ's right. For those of us who have a disability, especially because DJ and I were talking about this a moment ago before we came on air, when all you have is your upper body and that's how you do everything. You don't even realize how much strength you have. Like, you don't understand. But as far as holding Jason Josiah goes, the first time I held him, it was so fulfilling. There's a part that you're just like, man, I thought I had it all together, right? I thought I had everything I wanted, everything I could ever need for the most part in the partner that I'm sharing my life with. And then you meet this little person and you go, oh, wow. There's a whole area of myself that I didn't even know about. And the fact that I get to share it with her is just incredible. But DJ, to answer your question, they make these little pillows, and you might know the name of it, a boppy pillow, and it actually can go around you. So you can put a pillow underneath of you to help support and provide an area of buffer that, like, if you get tired, the buffer is there for a pillow. So I would say don't be fearful, just be aware, because those are 2 very different things. Because it's possible and it's real and it's beautiful and it's a blessing. So
what was it like for you, Melissa, to hold him the first time?
I think it's not really much different than what Justin just said. He kind of stole the wind from it, but I think being able to connect with, especially with Jason and Josiah too. The pregnancies were both different. They did different things. Josiah was much more ornery in the womb than Jace was, but just the idea of feeling them move and kick during pregnancy, and then to just have this life in front of you is incredible. And it's like, that this is a love that is so different than any other kind of love, and that I think it's just because it blossoms from the fact of just the love that we've had for one another and being able to accomplish this thing together. But to have both of our boys, it's such a wonderful experience of just being able to hold and we took the time to be just a family. We asked our parents and they respected it, to just for the 3 of us to be together first when we first got to hold them. And that was just an incredible experience, just to be together and know that this little life was ours. What we got to go home, and there's so much potential and love there, and that you'd do anything above and beyond anything you've ever done to make sure that they're okay. Just it all comes at once. So,
and I do want to say, because I think we're parenting's not pretty, so don't. There's also this expectation of I'm disabled, so I have to do it better because everybody's looking at me, everybody's judging me, everybody, I'm behind the 8 ball kind of a thing. Everybody's waiting for me to fail, and the fact of the matter is, some people are, but who cares? Because are those people going to invest in you?
Right.
Oh,
Right.
They're not. So don't be so focused on others, and understand that parenting's not pretty, and it'll be okay.
I love the way you put that, because what I say is I may be behind the 8 ball, baby, but I got the pool stick right here. So that 8 ball gonna move. And I remember. I mean, I've held a little one before. Like I said, I'm great with kids because my mom, was a nurse. She did everything. I mean, my mother-in-law is an NP, so it's the little ones, man. I'm good with the little ones. The baby voices, the stopping them from crying, the here, eat this bottle. It just the changing diapers. Me and my weak stomach. No.
Well, you better figure it out, brother.
Clothespin, bandana, Lysol. Okay, let's go. I mean, I'm just like, I'll do it, but I'm like, whoa, what is that? No, how can it be so vile? Okay.
To be honest, that's just something that you get used to, and it sounds really gross to say that, but having 2 kids behind us now, because Josiah is not far from potty training at this point, but it's just something. You'd be amazed, because I'm like you, DJ. I don't have the world's strongest stomach, and I'm like, I don't know, but you just get used to it. It's one of those moments where you just got to roll through it and go, okay.
That's not something I'm rolling through. I'm to let you know, but I mean,
I will say this, and I'll try and keep it as hopefully not as gross as, I'll try and limit it as much as I can in what I say, but the changing of diapers is nothing compared to the sound of them getting sick in the night. Like that is so much worse than changing any diaper. So, like, diapers are like nothing. It's the sick in the night in the bed. That's the bad part.
That's the point where you go, I told you not to eat that full bag of Cheetos, and you wouldn't listen.
I can vision going, I told the son not to do it.
Yeah.
I would be honored to have you guys on for part 2 if you guys would like to come on. We've got about 6 minutes before 5 minutes before we end. If you to those out there that are trying to plan to have children, to those out there that are disabled and working on it, what advice as parents would you give, just to maybe help them, nudge them in the right direction?
First and foremost, to pray. Just pray. And I don't mean frou-frou prayers. I mean real, genuine, this is where I am, this is where I want to be praying. Not, right words, right. Just pray. And plan. Plan that God's going to answer that prayer. You may not know how, but plan that He's going to. Because in planning that God's going to answer that prayer, you'll go, well, what about this? And what about this? And that'll lead to another discussion of, well, what about this? But you have to be proactive. That's all of life. But I think especially for people with disabilities, being proactive is important. And just being like, okay, if I'm going to take this step, I got to be deliberate about it and understand that God took that step in front of me. The path is already there. I just have to follow.
Okay.
I think also that, there's a sense of peace that God is in control of things. And there's a lot of voices out there and a lot of lies, even in general in life, that people like to shove their 2 cents into things that they don't necessarily have 2 cents about. So I encourage you just to know that it's not everybody else's responsibility. It's not your, it's not their job to speak into a life that they don't understand. So surround yourself with people who do love you, that do want the best for you, that are important, trying to bring you in a positive way and not bring you down. So you, bringing those people into your life is huge. I mean, the support from our family and from our friends, we have just been so grateful for. So surrounding with those kinds of people are what makes it easier for you to move through these difficult times too.
And not only that, I want to add this because maybe it's just that Melissa needs to hear it, but when you're trying to plan your life, plan it with the right people, and plan it with people that will invest in you and you can invest in them. And for those of us who are out there that are planning to be husbands that God has or will put in our lives, wives, make that your definition of what beautiful is.
Mm-hmm.
Because
yeah, baby,
beautiful to me is defined by her.
I love that. And I'll end the show with this because I love that you said that right there. And I was hoping that you were gonna go when you said Melissa needs to hear. I said, oh, he gonna bust one out. My mom would sit there and I would have people over, or there would be people sitting there, and I don't see black, white, yellow, brown. I never have. I see people as people. And my mom goes, you don't see that lady over there as big or medium sized or this. Look, I see people as people. And beauty is not only here, but it's here. And it's what becomes of the person on the inside, because that inside's got to come out. The one thing I learned about doing this show, and this is why I say when the tears come and when he starts talking, I got to be careful, because you can't hide who you are. You cannot hide who you are. God made you who you are. The you is going to come out. I got to be careful now. I got 3 minutes left getting fired up already. It's hard because you see people trying to be taught how to do something, and everybody else trying to stick their nose and their mouth and every other part of their body that don't need to be somewhere, and they in there giving 25 cents when they need to give one. But then your support system is like, just try this.
Right.
You need to talk, give me a call. It's those simple things. You talked about it earlier.
Right.
The 2 a.m, I don't get this. Okay, let's take a step back. Let's evaluate it. You're all right. Let's pray about it. Let's see what God wants us to do. Everything's going to be okay. Congratulations to you guys. Man, I wish this hour weren't up yet. Dang, this thing flew by. Boy, this might be a Justin and Melissa series up in here for too long. Because y'all, no, I like the way y'all handle things. I mean, it's I'm not saying I'm subscribe to the book, and I'm like, I don't know if it's gonna come out yet, but I'm very proud of you guys, because there's a realness here that I'm glad people are seeing. There will be a second show. There have been 6. A second show is coming, people. All right, it's coming. I thank y'all so much for doing this. I might have to buy my own radio station. Keep it for a couple hours. Great. Hey, thank y'all. I just, you guys are awesome, and God has shown and shined through you guys. Congratulations on 16 years. Congratulations on 2 wonderful boys. There's so much that we didn't cover. Stay with me as we end the show. Guys, if you want to follow me or be a guest on the show, search My CP Does Not Define Me. You can email me at carterdj85 gmail.com. Instagram, My CP Does Not Define Me. Twitter, My CP Does Not Define Me at Minion Sports. Thank y'all so much for being part of this. If you can't be good, be bad, but be good at it. I'm not even going to play the outro because this has just been too great. So thank y'all so much, and we will see you soon. And take care. Thanks for being part of this.
Bye, guys.